Buenos dias, welcome to Sports Daily with me, Bill Eshun, your trusted source for headline sports stories and the biggest moments shaping Ghana and the global game. Don't forget to connect with us on social media using the hashtag TV3 Sports Daily and watch our live stream on Facebook at TV3 Ghana and 3 Sports GH. Now here are your headlines. President John Mahama to attend the GPO launch. Teams engage in final preparation ahead of the new GPL campaign. Great news because TV3 will air the new season of the Ghana Premier League. And in Europe, Omar Mamouche is set to miss the Manchester derby after sustaining an injury. Let's begin now. The 2025-26 Ghana Premier League season is set to kick off in grand style on Friday with an exciting opening fixture between Accra Hearts of Oak and newly promoted Hohoe United at the Accra Sports Stadium. Now, President John Dramani Mahama is expected to attend the match as a special guest of honor, signaling his continued support for Ghanaian sports and youth development. Now, adding to the fanfare, award-winning dancehall artist Stonebwoy is scheduled to perform live, bringing energy and entertainment to what promises to be a memorable evening of football and music. Now, fans across the country will be able to watch live GPL matches on TV3 and on Nia TV. Now, this is the moment you've been waiting for. The Ghana Premier League is back and TV3 is giving you front row access to every kick, every tackle and every unforgettable moment this season. From Accra to Kumasi, Doma to Takoradi, Bichim to Tamale, wherever the action is, TV3 is there. We're bringing you comprehensive GPL coverage like never before. Live broadcast of all the biggest matches, exclusive highlight shows so you never miss a goal, expert studio analysis and match breakdowns, behind the scenes stories of your favorite GPL players and fan engagement moments from the studio shoutouts to live polls, debates and street reactions. This is bigger than the 90 minutes. This is football like you've never experienced. So mark the date, Friday, 12 September. The GPL will kick off and TV3, Ghana's #1 TV station, is your home of football. GPL live on TV3, feel the game, own the season. So that's the news that we have for you with regards to the Ghana Premier League for the 2025-26 season. Now, with just 24 hours to kickstart the season in the Ghana Premier League, of course, we have Hearts of Oak head coach Didi Dramani, who says his side is ready for the task ahead. Hearts of Oak finished the 2024-25 season with 58 points and entered the new season with fresh determination after clinching the 2025 Democracy Cup and finishing as runners-up in the GACA Top 4.
Important thing is to see how players and staff are bonding. I think the aspect of bonding in terms of the culture that we have instituted and the team philosophy that we try to introduce and try to enhance our practices was most welcoming, and this is an area that really endears my heart. Our goal is to try to compete, adversely in all the competitions across, the structure of our football in Ghana. And so going in the early season against Hohoe United tells that we need to package ourselves strongly and stay consistent and more sustainable in terms of all the competitions of the year. Bonding is one thing that we really cherish. We try to do so many aspects that will help us to try to find the bonding. Now it's difficult for you to know who is a new player and who is an older player. All that we have is we have House of Folk technical staff base.
That was Hearts of Folk head coach Masood Didi Dramani speaking ahead of the 2025-26 season. Now, joining me in studio is my colleague Mutala Yakubu. Mutala, we saw Hearts of Folk perform quite well during the preseason.
Yeah.
What is it looking like for them ahead of the new campaign?
Well, bright, and it's something that they will look to build on from the Galka Top 4, where we saw them beat their bitterest rivals, Kumasi Asante Kotoko. They would want to progress on what they did, even in that Democracy Cup where they managed to beat Great Olympics. It's still a team under some form of construction. They are not a fully fledged team yet. You can still see that sometimes there's a bit of disconnection and a lack of telepathy between the players. But with Masood Didi Dramani at the helm of affairs, trust that Hearts of Folk would really have a good season. He's been out of the local scene for, I think, over a decade now, and he's coming back. But he's an experienced tactician, one that has won the Ghana Premier League twice, and he knows how to build a winning team. If Hearts of Folk fans would be patient enough with this man, I'm sure brighter days are ahead of them.
You talked about patience. So what should be the targets of Masood Didi Dramani? Of course, Hearts of Folk fans naturally expect the team to go on to win the league. But do you expect him to maybe fight for the top 4 first this season and maybe go for the league next season?
I mean, if you're a coach of Asante Kotoko Hearts of Folk, the basic target would always be to win the Ghana Premier League, regardless of the quality you have at hand. But with what Masood Didi Dramani is trying to do, build an entirely new squad. It's just a handful of players from last season who are still there. So I think that finishing in the top 4 would be a bigger step for him to build on and go on and fight for the title next season. But this time, with the Masood Didi Dramani, I know he would want to win the title from the onset. He would try to fight for it, but I still think the Hearts of Folk team is a work in progress. And as I said, the fans should be patient with him, but they should have a good season. At least the top 3 teams, they should be in there.
Right, and before I move to Vision FC's head coach Nana Ajima, who we spoke to exclusively at 3 Sports, I would have to ask you this. Rank your top 4 for the 2025-26 season.
It'd be extremely difficult to do that, but I still think that Hearts of Folk Asante Kotoko would be in there, the top 2. I think maybe any Gold Stars would also want to defend their title. And this season, watch out for Adriana. I think that they would do well.
That is the top 4, according to my colleague Mutala Yakubu. Now, head coach of Vision FC, Nana Kweku Ajiman, says the club will stick to its philosophy of providing a platform for young players for development, though the club will also aim to perform better in the league than they did last season when they finished 11th.
Very pleased with the young players that have come in. I love to develop. It's something that I enjoy doing. I like to take a player from nowhere and make the player somebody. Last season, I came to meet a bunch of players after going through bits and pieces and trying to put a few things together and developing them as individuals. We've been able to move a lot of players on. We've got players at Hearts of Folk, we've got players at Adriana, players moved in and around, and we've got players that have also traveled out, which is something that I'm very, very happy about. This season is no different. We're still maintaining that vision of playing and developing players. So you heard me say that we brought in players from 3rd division and 2nd division. It means that it's a continuation of what we're doing. Players like Sanja and Kusi, who came in, who were actually sought after by a lot of the big guns. They decided to stay for another season and try to develop a bit further so that they can also go back in, probably play for some of the big clubs next season or even move out of the country. So yes, we still stay within the philosophy. 2nd division players, 3rd division players. We only have Afuakwa, who is a very experienced player who came in. We also have Nicholas Mensah, who's played Kotoko before, who also came in. Sharif, the striker, came from Malta. So we have bits and pieces of players that have come to help, but I did say 90% of them are still very, very young players who are here and still competing.
That was Nana Kweku Ajiman speaking exclusively to 3 Sports. Mutala, I mean, we saw Vision FC finish 11th as a newly promoted side. I mean, do you expect this team to actually, make a step up, or might struggle to stay in the league?
Well, it's not going to be an easy feat for them. I remember being at one of their games last season. It was against Asante Kotoko where they won. I asked the coach if he was optimistic that they would stay, because at that point they were still flirting with relegation, and he said that they were going to stay, and because they had a very young squad and not much Premier League experience, that is why they were struggling. Now they've gotten that Premier League experience. They've brought in some very experienced players like Dixon Afuakwa, formerly of Asante Kotoko, to add to the rank. So this time, or this term, I expect them to do much better than they did last season. Their first 5 matches would be a really big test for them. If they can go through that successfully and build momentum, then Vision FC should be around the 4th to the 10th, because last season they finished 11th. Entering the top 10 would be a massive achievement for a club like Vision FC.
Right, entering the top 10. We'll see what happens in the 2025-26 season. But let's stay in the Ghana Premier League and preview match day 1 action. A lot of blockbuster fixtures are expected, with Hearts of Folk set to take on Hoho United on the opening day, that is on Friday. We also have Holy Stars versus 11 Wonders, Heart of Lions versus Dreams FC, Vision versus Salmatex, Bibiani Gold Stars, current holders, versus Bichem United, Young Apostles versus Mediama SC, Karela versus Ediana, Brekum Chelsea versus Asante Kotoko, and Nations FC versus Swedru All Blacks. Now, ahead of the new campaign, here's all you need to know when it comes to the head coaches of all the 18 clubs, of course. But before we talk about the head coaches, Mutala, I mean, which fixture sticks out to you as like the toughest to look out for?
Well, in as much as it will sound a bit surprising, I think Hartlepool against Hoho United, because of what happened to Hartlepool last season. They were playing a new entrant in Baseke Holy Stars. Yes, they failed to win that game. They lost that game by a goal to nil, the same Accra Sports Stadium. Now there's a lot of expectation on the shoulders of Masudi Dramani and this Hartlepool team, looking at what they did in the Ghana 4 and what they did in the Democracy Cup. So that game is a bit tricky, coming up against an opponent that is coming from Division 1 with a lot of confidence, having won their zone, qualified for the first time. They would also want to show their mettle. They would want to show the fans and Ghanaians what they are made of. They have some experienced players in there. Paul Kwame. They have an experienced manager who has already been in the Premier League in the person of Tijani as well. So it's going to be a tricky tie for Hartlepool. But if they can win that game, if Hartlepool can get 3 points from that game, it will kick off their season.
Yeah. The expectation on the opening night between Hartlepool and Hoho United. We'll go for a quick break. When we come back, we have a look at the coaches and some other stories here on Sports Day. Welcome back from the break. This is still Sports Daily Live here on TV3. Now, ahead of the new season, here is all you need to know when it comes to the head coaches of the 18 clubs. What I can mention is that there are 2 foreigners, 16 local coaches, and 10 of them are retained, 8 are new. And so these are the new, or some of the retained head coaches in the Ghana Premier League. We have Karim Zito, of course, of Asante Kotoko, and Didi Dramani of Hearts of Folk, 2 big clubs, and Nana Kweku, who we spoke to exclusively, Tijani Abdul Bashiru of Hoho United, Samuel Buedu of Brekum Chelsea, Fripom Manso, current champion with Bibiani Gold Stars, Bashir Hayford of Pando Hearts of Lions, Rayford Dolman, who is now with Dreams FC, Ahmed Ibrahim Fathi, who is an Egyptian with Swedru All Blacks, Evans Adote, who is with Basake Holy Stars, Niodati Lamte with 11 Wonders, Christopher Enin of Samatex, Abu Abdul Hanan as well. We have Ibrahim Tanko, of course, of Mediama, Nuruddin Amadou of Karela, Aristika, who is of Ediana. and Kasimu Kansi Mingle, of course, of Nations FC, and Stephen Desmond Isaac Butchie of the Hunters, that is Bichin United. Now, Mutala, we are seeing two foreigners in the lineup.
Chilba Aristika.
Yeah, Chilba and then Fati.
Yeah, Fati.
What would you expect from these foreigners?
I mean, I expect a bit of Egyptian football sprinkled on Swedwell All Blacks, because to qualify from Division 1, not take an experienced manager in Ghana and go all the way and pick a manager from Egypt, it means that they want to go a different direction. Chilba Aristika, we've already seen him in this country before. He's worked with quite a number of teams, even Adriana. This is his second coming, so he's not new to the Ghanaian football system. He knows the terrain very, very well. So I'll keep an eye on Fati rather to see what he brings to the fore, because this is the first time I'm seeing an Egyptian manager in the Ghana Premier League, and it's a new twist for us. Also, someone like Wilfred Dormon.
Yes.
I mean, he's been an assistant coach for long at the Dreams FC. This is the opportunity for him to step in, since his boss, that is Karim Zito, has left for Asante Kotoko. I want to see what he brings to the fold and what he's learned over the last few years that he's been an assistant coach. So it's getting interesting in there.
But also, Bashir Hayford, he did a very good job with Pandu Hearts of Lions last season, but faltered during the preseason. Is it warning signs for him ahead of the season?
Well, when I was in Pandu, I tried to find out whether it gives him headache, and he says no, it is preseason, so he was trying to give opportunities to new players to also showcase their talent. Now, he has a broader idea of his team, their strength and weaknesses, so he'll be going into the season feeling very confident. As he told me, the first 5 games of the league season are very crucial. Very experienced manager, one that has won the league with Asante Kotoko with Ash Gold. So he also comes with rich vein of experience. They finished second last season, and he says he will want to go a step further.
Now here is what Bashir Hayford, the head coach of Pandu Hearts of Lions, said ahead of the new campaign.
Because everybody thought we were not going to do well. So we hope that season, we haven't started, so you cannot look into what is going to happen. So I think we want to repeat what happened last season. This season, for instance, the recruitment has been very good, better than what we did last season. So we are hoping that with that, performance will also be better than last season.
So that was Bashir Hayford, the head coach of Pandu Hearts of Lions. Let's also listen to one of the newcomers, Tijani, that is Bashiru of Hoho United, who is optimistic ahead of the new campaign.
For them, they know exactly where they are today. Even I told them they should forget about the past. Everything that they did at Division 1 is just history. Now, where they are now, they should let everybody, every Premier Division, to feel they are present. You know, that is that. And we are prepared them about physically, tactically, and all that. Apart from that too, you know, this kind of Premier League, where they are now coming to play, it's not about the physical ability, you know, it's about the mental strength. So that is exactly what we are building to them. No, they are adapting, and moreover, we didn't bring anything different. We are going with the same philosophy that they had, the system of 4-3-3. Yes, the system of 4-3-3. So the little bit that we had, because we are not going to play Premier, not Division 1. So we just put the experience that we have, we are bringing it in to help the team to succeed. It's not going to be easy. Why? Because, you know, a place like a community, like you said in Hohoi, what they need alone, what a result, good result. When you give them that good result, you are easier to go. So that's exactly what we are going to plan for. You know, because, you know, the supporters, I saw them in Division 1, the way they are and all that. So we are preparing for that. And I know exactly how they are. And
Hoho United, Tijani Bashiru. Now, every season comes with its own infrastructure complications. As of now, these are the approved venues for the Ghana Premier League in the 2025-26 campaign. We have Accra Sports Stadium, Golden City Park, Dance Park, Pandu Sports Stadium, in Century Sports Arena, Ni Eje Kraku, the second park, Nana Ajimambedu, the first park, Aliu Mahama Sports Stadium, and Dr. Kwame Chey Sports Complex. Now, Mutala,
Yeah.
you have been at the grounds of the Hohoi United home venue, and I quite remember you mentioned it was a slaughterhouse.
Yeah. I didn't mention, that is what they are saying. That is what the people and the indigents of Hohoi are saying, that it's a slaughterhouse. Because last season in the Division 1, they never lost any game there. And they've already sent a warning to the other 17 Premier League clubs that will come to Hohoi that you don't come with the aim of even getting a point at that venue. The reason why it's not listed here is the fact that they were working on the VIP session. And they say before they play their first home game there, which would be match day 2 against Young Apostles, that edifice will be done so that it will be approved by the FA for them to play their league games there. It's a beautiful stadium that has been put up. The owner, John Peter Amewu, still backing the club heavily, and they vowed to make life very, very uncomfortable for teams that visit the Hohoi Sports Stadium.
Right. Of course, 9 stadiums approved so far in the Ghana Premier League. We'll see what happens in the next few weeks. Now, the Minister for Sports and Recreation, that is Honorable Kofi Adams, was quoted saying, "If I tell you I'm impressed with Otuado, then it means I do not know my job." Mutala, what's your thoughts on that particular assessment?
Well, it gives me mixed feelings. It's one that I feel maybe could push Otuado to go a step further or do a better job as not seen by the minister. On the other hand, I also feel it's harsh because if the minister has anything or any ill feeling towards Otuado and his tactics, he could have gone directly to have a one-on-one with him because he's accessible. He is the minister. He can walk into the Black Stars camp. He can have a phone conversation with Otuado, but to come publicly and make this declaration, it looks like he's throwing Otuado under the bus.
Is there a feeling that Otuado could potentially lose his job?
Well, I am not closer to power at the moment. It looks like he has a strong backing as far as the FA is concerned. But with what the minister has said, it means that from the government's side, then Otuado doesn't really have a good will there. But it looks like his job is secured at the moment because the FA has been backing him for several months now. But football, let's be honest with ourselves, the football would have to improve.
Indeed, the football would have to improve. Let's go to Europe, where Manchester City will be without Omar Mamouche for Sunday's Manchester derby after the Egyptian forward suffered a knee injury on international duty. Now, Mamouche, who joined City from Eintracht Frankfurt for £59 million in January, was hurt following a robust 4th-minute challenge. City said initial scans in Egypt indicate Mamouche would miss Manchester United's visit to Etihad Stadium on Sunday. The club confirmed Mamouche will now return to Manchester for more assessments and to begin his rehabilitation. That's all for this edition of Sports Daily. Stay tuned for live reactions, in-depth interviews, and more exclusive updates from the world of sports. My name is Billy Shen. We'll see you same time tomorrow as we build up to the start of the Ghana Premier League season.